Ladies and gentlemen, cultists of all ages, we are back. Marco.
Oops, sorry.
Yep. Anyway, as I said, we are back live here with our week in review, Friday the 13th edition.
Man.
Oh man, we already seem to be maybe down one. We are joined by Rob Davio, who is his picture is frozen entirely on my screen the second we start this live stream. I don't know if he is still there or not. So,
Rob, are you still? No, he isn't. Oh.
Anyway, that was a picture of Rob Davio.
Now he can't hear me?
Oh yes, and
yes,
now we are back.
Now I can.
I could hear you just fine. Everything was great at my end, and then there was a glitch. And
well, let's go ahead and get all the technical issues out of the way immediately.
Yeah.
It is like Friday the 13th, and the rituals started early. So
yeah.
Who knows what can happen today?
It's the ghost of Kenneth that's haunting us because, again, that one strike you're out policy. So anyway, guys, we are here back this week. We are joined by Marcella and Marco, just as we have in the previous live streams. And today we are also joined by Rob Davio. For those who don't know, he made a little game called Death May Die that he might be backing today. So everyone, Marcella, Marco, Rob, how are you doing this morning/afternoon?
I'm good. I'm good. It's a nice day here. Got my Christmas mug. It's not really thematic for Friday the 13th at Cthulhu, but it's how I roll.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, no, I'm doing great. I am pretty excited about today's live, guys. We have something really cool to show you all.
All right. Well, that is good to hear, guys. It looks like we have sorted any technical things on the back end here, unless anything unexpected happens. Who knows? I mean, it's all thematic. Remember, guys, if it happens, it's a feature, not a bug. This is just a spooky Friday the 13th in December live stream. Guys, we have a lot to cover today, so we're just going to get right into it, okay? First off, we are going to go and talk about the numerous add-ons that we released this week. Some really cool stuff here, starting with the extra frosted dice sets. Guys, anyone who plays any game of custom dice knows that you can never have enough. And, well, we're offering you more. Marco is a big fan of these dice.
As we can see. No, yeah, those are a fan favorite. Like, they are always super popular.
Yeah.
Guys, as much as we want to sit here and focus on extra dice being really cool and everything, they're dice. You've seen them. So let's move on to our other topic, extra great giant dice. They're like what we just showed, except bigger.
Bigger.
We've had some people ask for a size comparison, and I believe both Marcella and Marco can help out here, but I know Marcella specifically really likes the extra large dice here and keeps using them as fidget devices, much to the little clack annoyance.
Like in the background, I was literally like doing this, and I was like, "You guys can't really hear me, right?" And everyone was like, "No, we can. We hear it just fine." But yeah, those big dice, they made some people confused because, like, the first question was why, and the immediate second question was why not. So we do have like a series of them that we make for different events. So we actually, both Marco and I, we have the same set here. This was, I think, from Essen from like 5 years ago. So they are a bit old now. To me, they are extra special because they were a gift. So if you guys have a Dice Goblin in your life, this makes a great gift. I like mine very much, and they have been on my table every day since I got them. So yeah, it's great. And we have like a very long line of special edition event dice. Someone from the company actually sent me a picture of theirs, and she has like 7 different sets. And I was like, okay, where can I get them? And it turns out that I can't because they are super limited. We do those for different events. And this is the first time that we are doing them like as a way to commemorate the occasion of the campaign. So this is the first time we're doing those big dice that can be actually incorporated in gameplay. They have all the icons that you guys need. They are frost dice, but bigger. So they're great. I like them. I think they're neat.
And they go great with the big miniatures as well. Like you have big miniatures and big dice.
Marco, you and I were on the same page right there. You have your giant Bigature, Cthulhu, and Godzilla, and now you've got your giant dice to go with them. Also, a single set of these will work as stress balls as well if that's your thing, as Marcella is just demonstrating. As we said, though, really cool thing, but we got a lot to cover, and I gonna sound like a broken record when we do that, but man, it's just gonna keep getting cool. We're just gonna keep ramping up here. So start at the bottom with some cool dice. Let's move on to talking about our unlocked stretch goals. So the very first one, and one of my favorites here, is actually the lost episode, The Case of Charles Dexter Ward. So this was a full new episode that we have unlocked, adding all of that components to gameplay. Rob, Marco, what do you guys want to comment about this one? First off, I will just say I love the the monster selection of this set specifically.
Ever since the beginning, ever since season 1, back when Eric Lang and I were working on the game, I have always loved the lost episodes, because although Death May Die isn't ever super serious, it is usually more serious than the lost episodes, and the lost episodes are always the ones that we said were left on the cutting room floor because they were just a little too offbeat, a little too whimsical. So it's always fun to design something that just feels fun, silly, in a way that sometimes you're not in the world of Cthulhu. So they're always great fun to dig into them.
Yeah. For this one, the investigator have to fix a broken plane and throw the ashes of an old necromancer through the crops. It's very, very interesting.
Yeah, you're crop dusting with necromancer ashes. Like I said, a little more outside the box thinking.
Yeah. One of the comments here I love is the disgusting monster sculpts combined with the absurd humor was what pulled me in. And I agree with that here because these are really cool monster designs. And then, of course, you're having your resurrected Joseph Kerwin just falling around. I love that little touch right there that we can add. Yes, it's horrific and it plays well to the story, but there is that little bit of a whimsical bit that, like, yes, what's this great evil monster that we're fighting? Oh, it's this resurrected necromancer, and he's got a knife and magic that he's going to come after you.
So, like just getting into a little bit with like the sort of the philosophy of writing these episodes. I don't know if people notice, if you look through the discovery cards, I'm sure a lot of people on this stream have noticed, we always try to have what I call an A plot and a B plot. So I always go back to like the one from season 1, which was in the ballroom with the masked cultists. And there is the cards that you find that have to do with that. But then there is a man who's there with his wife and his woman he's having an affair with, and the wife is trying to put poison in the drink to kill both of them. It's never overtly said, and you might not get all the cards are in the right order. And in the very first one, the one that people start with, where you're in the lab in the fire, there's a professor there who's swapping the consciousness of animals and humans, like as a background sort of event. So there's something, like you said, interesting to have this very sort of horrific end of the world scenario go on, but meanwhile people still have their petty grievances and weird things going in the back. I know it's a little off topic, but I always like to mention them.
I feel that things like that add to any game product because we are crafting experiences for people, and the people that pay attention and notice those little things, that's just the extra bit of rewarding bits of gameplay and narrative that fuse together. And when you're dealing with a IP like Lovecraft, that is essential. So that is, if anytime you want to throw out any more of those little back insider comments there, or things like that, absolutely, I believe that everyone here would appreciate hearing that.
Okay.
Yeah, people are getting very happy because they recognize the episodes that we've shown so far. So they are like, oh, I love the story. This is my favorite tale. Like they like catching the references that we are working with. But we are also like taking the reference, taking the original work and giving it a twist that both Rob and Mark are so well known for. And we have a lot more of those. We are using like a lot of the original content and famous stories. And I think people will be very happy about that.
Let's move on to speaking about our next eldritch monstrosity, the late, great Alfred Hitchcock.
People also get very happy when we add like real life people to the game. Like it's always, I love seeing like people trying to, oh, I'd love to see this person and this person and this person, and sometimes they are right. Also got people by surprise though, I think.
So I know that we have already discussed him in the update, but let's talk about him briefly here. I just want to say personally, might be a little unsavory, but I am a little disappointed that he just doesn't have an ability that displays his reckless disregard for his actors and everyone that he had in his movies. He notoriously just puts everyone in danger when he was filming stuff.
I didn't know that.
Oh, it's actually quite a real life horror show about like the cast of The Birds and how he just kind of tormented some of his actors and actresses on set.
I know. What's the woman in Psycho? Janet Leigh? Was that her name? She never took a shower again after filming that movie. She took baths.
Mm-hmm. Rob, I also want to say that your image is currently just frozen on this Rictus grin, and I kind of don't want it to fix.
I don't know.
No, it's perfectly fine. But
all right.
All right, guys. Tell us a little bit about Alfred here and his inclusion in the game.
When he kills a cultist, he gets a bonus die for all other attacks in the same turn. So he starts once per turn, and then every time he kills a cultist, so he can build up on dice and get a big attack when he's on a higher level. You know, he also has strength and deception as their basic skills. So I guess he can show some monsters and investigators. And as you said, he would probably annoy his co-workers. So maybe he uses strength to do that.
Lots of fun. So let's move on to our next topic here, which is actually the topic of the day, quite literally the day. Everyone, happy Friday the 13th. This is Insanity and Relic Friday. And as a result, we are putting up a little poll here to have people choose the next relic that is going to be added into the game. And in addition to that, we're also giving you your fear of the number 13. No, I'm not going to attempt to pronounce that. Insanity card.
Triskaidekaphobia.
There we go. That's why
I'll say that again 3 times.
Triskaidekaphobia. No, I'll summon Beetlejuice. I'm not doing that.
I was going to say, were you about to summon something or banish him back to a dimension? All right, guys. So tell us a little bit about the, if you could, the 3 relics that people have to choose from to vote up. You know, really sell them on, which one here is going to be the one that should be included and win.
Yes. So the thing is, we're actually expecting the results to actually design them, but I'm thinking about designing around you rolling blanks or rolling a poor rolls. So because it's about superstition and bad luck, so if you get a bad roll, you get something good, something like that,
Michael was literally telling us to turn the scales on the vote that is going on right now. Like, okay, tell people what they should vote for.
Yeah.
Listen, the scales can never be balanced when there's a hand upon them, and we all have our preferences. I will say myself, I will be voting for the stuck clock, and I really couldn't tell you why. Just the idea of clocks, especially striking 13. That's what my image is in there because of today and everything. Is like, oh yeah, the clock struck at 13. Wait, what do you mean? What?
I'm always a fan of stuck clock, and everyone knows putting anything that is time warping or time travel into any game or narrative makes it super easy to do. You always run into problems, but it's fun to try to solve it.
With that being said, let's move on to talk about some enemies here. And guys, I know, like I said, we're not spending a huge amount of time on anything here, but we really do have a lot to cover today, and I'm broken recording that. So, moving right on to the flame creatures of Cthulhu.
Yeah, they are
those look great.
They look awesome, right? They are a current stretch goal. They haven't been unlocked yet, but people are already very excited because first off, they look like insanely cool. This is the first time we are doing translucent plastic in miniatures in Death May Die. And we really the team really worked hard to implement okay, this is fire. How do we sculpt fire and how do we make it look like fire? But we got very happy with the result, because like how you're dealing with both types of plastic. So we have like the usual counter base, the little details at the bottom, and then like translucent body in flames. And it's gonna be hella fun to make that, to produce that.
Just for in case anyone did not pick up on that, yes, these are going to be in transparent red plastic like you see here. So anyone who does not enjoy painting their miniatures, you get this cool effect. And anyone who does like painting their miniatures, you can paint them up, much like the concept art there with your, bits of lava or fire bits coming out. I've seen some people do some fantastic things with actually painting over the translucent bits. But always a fan to see cool stuff like this.
People were actually like, they were trading tips on the comments, like how to enhance the translucent plastic. So apparently like dry brush with black looks amazing on that. I can't say for myself, but I'll let you guys try that out.
Guys,
tell me how it goes.
$10 million stretch goal. Marcelo will live stream painting these miniatures when they are fully released. Okay.
How long do I get to learn how to paint?
You know what? We'll figure it out if we reach that $10 million goal.
Okay. If we reach that, I'll make the effort.
I'm sure we have some painters in our company that might be able to help you out.
Yeah, no, I'll get Kenneth to teach me, because he's got like all that gear. I'll hire him back as a cultist so he can teach me how to paint.
A moment of silence for our dear departed Kenneth, who failed us last week and has thus been banished to the Shadow Realm.
There.
All right, moment done. Let's talk about what's next. Now, okay, we just released some flame creatures of Cthugha. Let's talk about, I don't know, the actual Elder One, Cthugha. Surprise!
How about Cthugha? Yeah. I saw people in the comments asking if he was going to be translucent plastic as well, and partially, yes.
Yeah.
When we're talking about, unknown forms and, things that escape people's minds, Cthugha here is, described as like sentient fire. And this is essentially what we kind of have here. So the design is great. Marco and Rob, can you talk about any of the actual gameplay elements for this?
Yeah.
Or any of the cool features?
So Cthulhu comes with this core hit track that each investigator uses to keep track of the core hit that he has, and they have these special fire tokens that you can't extinguish, and when you move out of a space with a token from Cthugha, you get core hit, and this core hit makes you take stress, catch fire, take wounds. As you progress the track, it becomes even worse, and that's it. That it's a special type of fire that makes you more.
It burns from within. Like the investigators are literally like burning from inside out as they face Cthugha.
Exactly.
I would just also like to comment on the table presence of having, this big Elder One made of translucent fire, along with their fire minions moving across the board. And of course, pair this up with your favorite episodes, like episode 1, where you're already having to extinguish fires. Because dog, you like fire? Here's some more fire for your fire.
Yeah, and as I said, the fire from Cthulhu you can even extinguish, so it's even harder. And with more fire, it could destroy you if you go to a room with a lot of fire and Cthulhu's fire, and you get a lot of core heat.
I feel there's a certain playful malice that comes from designers when it's like, oh, you guys want a challenge? Okay, sure. Here's a challenge.
I also
go ahead, say, this is just the type of game that you can do that. There's a reason that season 1, episode 1 starts out like, oh, everything's on fire, right? Like it's, this game lets you just throw the most ridiculous things at the players and just have them deal with it. And that's one of the things that's so fun to go back to it, again and again.
Yeah. Listen, guys, here's a giant unnameable threat from dimensions beyond your understanding. Take Alfred Hitchcock and go kill it. Okay.
And there's also like the delicious irony that in the core box we have a firefighter investigator, and we also have an investigator that likes setting things on fire.
Yes.
So my suggestion is you take those two against Cthugha in the episode from the original core box that sets everything on fire.
Well, you see, that's just win-win because, like, okay, one person gets to set stuff on fire, and then the other person gets to, hey, that's my job is to put things out. It's a cycle. It's beautiful. It's like
They are
poetry.
both fulfilling their duties at the same time.
Everyone
like
wins.
Everyone wins. It's perfect.
So this is all really cool, and visually it looks nice. It's a super cool looking translucent model. And of course, everyone is always excited to add new great old ones to the game because they drastically change up every single episode. This is one of the most important modular bits that you can add to your game, as you can, again, the whole premise of Death May Die. Take an episode that's really cool, a story that you like, take a random Elder one and add it in there, and the entire gameplay dynamic changes. So that all being said, what is cooler than taking all that and cranking it up to 11, 12, actually a number that we can't even comprehend because we are dealing with the mythos. Well, luckily, we have something for you about that today. Let's go ahead and show our next piece that we have.
Is this it?
Welcome to Season 6, and welcome to the Dreamlands.
I love that video. I love that video so much.
This is like the 10th time I've seen this trailer, and I've got like literal chills every time. And I was like, oh my God, I love everything about that.
That's the thing, that like this idea came out a year and a half, 2 years ago or something at the beginning. And like, it's such a cool thing to see, like just something you're drawing on a computer or piece of paper on your table turn into a video that is that cool. Like the first time I saw it, I'm like, well, I want to play this despite knowing everything that's in there and having worked on it, but it's gonna be great.
So I hope everyone understands now why we were, moving that express train to the Dreamlands to get to this point, because we have a lot in this box, and we are going to go over each of it bit by bit, if that is okay, of course, with Rob, Marco, and Marcella.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
sure.
objections?
Well, let's do this.
Let's take a deep dive into just what is in that box. First off, new investigators. Marco, Rob, let's talk about some cool favorites here, what these guys bring to the table.
This is more Marco's thing. It's we divide and conquer in different pieces in this.
Yeah, I mean, it's more investigators. We have 6 investigators. They use the new skills that we introduced in the Forbidden Riches box. Some of them use mystic tokens. For example, there's one that if you end a movement in a safe space, you get a mystic token. And if you discard, you can discard the mystic token to reroll dice. So we're still using the same things that we introduced in the Forbidden Riches box in this new investigator. So there are more investigators with this new feature that we introduced.
More playable characters, more options for choosing your persona and tackling up the threats that come out of the Dreamlands. Everyone take your screenshots because we're going to move on to our next section now. Speaking about threats coming forth from the Dreamlands, we have new unknown monsters.
Yeah, we try to choose unknown monsters related to the Dreamlands, related to the stories that are from the Dreamlands. So you have Wump, the Ibian, the High Priest, not to be described, And yeah, all of those come from stories that are on the Dreamlands. I think Marcella is a big fan of those stories, right?
I was literally like geeking out to Rob before the live because I was like, I love everything about this box. I'm a huge fan. So yeah, the Dreamlands, they are my favorite stories from Lovecraft. Like I really love Lovecraft. Like I really enjoy most of his stories. I had a cat that was named Phillips after Lovecraft because my cats are named after writers I love. And my favorite stories are from the Dream Cycle. And I get really bummed because most people seem to not enjoy the Dream Cycle so much because they are not like your usual cosmic horror, unexplainable, terrible thing happening. They are more fantasy like. They are more like they are highly poetic. They are very descriptive. They are very like they are beautiful in a way. And Lovecraft was actually writing those. He was actually inspired by Lord Dunsany, which is my favorite author of all times. So I have the writer that I like writing stories influenced by, like inspired by the writer that I like most of all. So I love like everything, every time that the high priest not to be described is mentioned. He's like only briefly mentioned during Face, which is my favorite story from Lovecraft, and during the Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath. And we know very little about it, but we know that it's terrible. Like, oh, we had a glimpse of the high priest not to be described. Bad day, go back, run away. So
Yeah.
it's awesome. And those are like not only because of the stories, but because of the style. Like those are not the only unknown monsters we have. We have, I think, one more slide about them. But I think those are the monsters in this box. They happen to be my favorite because the art is crazy good. The sculpts are amazing. Like the Wump, they look like insanely good. Like the Wump is this render is like a thing of beauty. So yeah, I am super excited about this box.
And guys, Marcella has literally been gushing over this box since before the campaign, so we're just letting you get it all out of your system now.
All out, just get it all out.
This is still only half of the unknown monsters that we're showing because we still have the other ones in here, the Vunath, the Orhag, and the Gonora in here as well.
So
the Gonora, they are one of my favorites because they are just like so. They are scary but beautiful at the same time. It's like it's that thing. Like, can I pet that dog? That's how I feel about the Gonora. Like friend-shaped, maybe.
Yes, it's not. If it's dangerous, why is it friend-shaped? Yes.
Yeah, you're looking at a different sculpt than I am. That does not look petable to me. But
Rob, technically anything is petable if you're willing to, make the effort.
Yes,
this is the Dreamlands. This is, as Marcella said, this is the. I don't want to say more whimsical Lovecraft because that seems like it's doing a disservice, but it does have the more of a fantastical element compared to just the harsh realities of a lot of the mythos.
Yeah, it's got a different vibe. That was the interesting thing when we were starting on the Dreamlands. It's like sort of ethereal and floaty and, less cosmic horror, as you mentioned. And the whole approach had to be tweaked a little bit, which we're going to get to in a minute.
So speaking about just the different source material and everything, we of course have a plethora of new episodes that dive into all of that. So let's just go ahead and just look at those and talk about how incorporating those stories, those narratives, and the setting into this new game, these new game options.
Yeah, I need to look at my notes. Like I said, this was over a year ago. Marco's like on the front line. But we've got, rather than do a deep dive into each individual one, we basically took the idea of dreamscapes and actual stories where they appear. And we took those stories and said either like what happens next or what happens before this story, or how can we show a different side of this story? So each one of them is based on a Dreamland story from Lovecraft where if you've read the story, it should feel very familiar to you. And it's just like either an alternate history or something. It's the board that I'm excited about. I'm trying not to jump ahead and get the board. And you saw it in the video. Because what we wanted the episodes to feel untethered, like that the regular rules and of the world don't quite apply here in a way that humans can't make sense of. normally, like, you know, with the other episodes, you're on Earth. So even though you're facing horrors, you're people who sort of feed off the losing your sanity, and you've learned to adapt. And this, we wanted to sort of make the ground feel unstable to you in a way, and actually literally, as we'll see.
And one thing I wanted to also, Marcelo, if we just get some official clarification for people as well, so there's no confusion. Season 6, is this an expansion set or is this a standalone box?
No, this is an expansion. You still need one of the core box to play with this. This is not crowdfunding exclusive. This will be available at retail later on. During the crowdfunding, you'll be able to get it at a special price. And same as we did last time, it should be available like a bit after we are done with this live. So like give us like a couple of minutes and you'll be able to add those to your pledge today. Everything you see here is part of this box and you'll be able to get it to add it to your pledge today.
All right, so just to recap there, just so it's nice bullet pointed out, this is an expansion. You will need a Death May Die core box to play. This is not a crowdfunded funding exclusive box either. It will be available at retail at a later date. You are getting a discount for backing it today during the campaign, and of course helping to unlock even more stretch goals to add more insanities, monsters, and madness to the overall package. In addition to the episodes that we have here, this also features 2 new campaigns added. So saw some people asking for that in the comments, and here we go. Yes, additional campaigns, bringing the total currently to 5.
Yes, yeah. As I said, we are expanding on everything. We added for Forbidden Riches, so we also have new campaigns here, and with new stories, with new things to explore. For example, the Forbidden Tomes campaign, the 5th campaign, you can find these books with that are artifacts with power that you can use, and there are multiple books, and at each time you play the campaign, you'll find different ones. So it has a sort of replayability for this campaign as well, and the story goes to can go to different branches based on what you do with these books, you know. So yes, we expanded the number of campaigns, so you can use the campaign mode with different stories, right?
Yeah, I know you talked about campaigns like in earlier streams, your modes like earlier streams been here, but this is my first time seeing I've seen the final cards, but like I am so glad that we added campaigns to here. As you know, I'm a guy who loves making campaign legacy multi-story things. So figuring out the structure for these and how they worked and how they could go and the different campaigns like really was something that I felt put this game into a different place, right? You know, can you get through 3 games? You know, and Death May Die is a huge challenge. And I, you know, like asking any more than that is asking too much. And I just love the branching stories and the I don't know, sorry, I'm gushing about something I worked on, which is I don't know if that's D class A or awesome.
It's completely valid.
It shows passion.
I'm excited to play them because I did some and then Marco did a bunch that I don't know, you know, in-house at Simon. So there's some things in here that I can play and be surprised by, which is so rare when you work on a game. Usually by the time I'm done working on a game, I never want to see it again. With so much content and stuff happening at Simon, I get excited to bring it to the table.
And just in case anyone has somehow made it this far into the campaign but is not sure how the campaigns work, these are modular, added to it's an optional mode that you can link 3 games together playing the same Elder one, but linking any 3 of the usual standalone episodes together. So these are fully modular as well. The more of these you have, the more episodes you have, the more unique stories you can add in, and these craft an overarching kind of sub-narrative that will, you know, have details in the background working on based on the campaign that you're playing.
Yeah, little 3-act play.
Lots of fun there. And okay, we also have in this box, of course, new Insanities and new relics.
Yeah, the same thing. We have new relic card that you can use with the unknown rules and new Insanities. And what's interesting for these Insanities is that since you're entering Dreamlands, they're become more real. They're more like mutation, like Insanities. You have tentacle limbs, or your skin is full of eyes popping everywhere. Because the usual Insanities are more like real world Insanities. Those are dream-like Insanities.
Yeah, it's just like a weird dream that you're having. Like, don't you hate it when you're like having a nice dream and then your arms become tentacles?
It happens every time.
I don't see how everyone is not immediately like the one with the eyes everywhere is so much worse than the others. Like, okay, yeah, your arms become tentacles or you get scales. Okay, sure, but eyes everywhere, just there's a lot of
yeah, that one's bad.
So since we're speaking about the Dreamlands and this being expansion, of course, you're getting new investigators, you're getting new unknown monsters, new Insanities, new relics. Here you're getting 2 new campaigns, but almost the stars of the box, you are also getting a brand new Elder one. And here we have Abhoth. Marco, Rob?
I really like this one. It deals with mutations for the monsters, so there are cards and effects that makes the monsters that are on the episode or unknown monster that you happen to add to the game, they start to mutate. The first time they mutate, they get +1 health. That's it. The second time, you flip over the token and there's a random mutation. That could be extra wounds or extra tentacles, something that makes the monster more scary. And if you mutate again, the miniature mutates again, that mutation goes to the card. And now every single miniature of this type has the same effect. So they start to mutate and become stronger, and you have to kill them before they mutate. So to avoid everyone getting the same effects, it's really cool. This new other one is one of my favorites from this new season.
I have to say that personally, this one is probably mechanically one of my favorite Elder ones in the entire series, simply because, okay, I'm a big fan of the last ones revealed as well, giant spiders and just making more spiderlings. Always going to be a fan of that. But another aspect I just really like is bosses that can mutate and change how your common threats activate. That as a mechanic is just something that I always like seeing in games. I think it's really cool because it adds that extra layer of unknown modularity on top of what you're facing. Because here, you're facing your cultists, you're facing your unknown monsters that already have their own unique stuff, but then this guy shows up and starts augmenting them even further. And to me, that is just a cool concept. And everyone has those mechanics that they just for some reason latch onto. This is one that I latch onto, and this is definitely one of my top 3 Elder ones throughout the entire series.
And I don't know about you guys, like as players, I am not great at thinking like 3 steps ahead, 4 steps ahead. I'm usually more concerned with the things that are on my face at this second. And I would have a lot of trouble playing with this Elder one because I am like, surrounded by cultists, surrounded by monsters. I have things that I need to worry about right now. And next turn, they will change. And I'll have new things to worry about that I was not prepared for. So, yeah, I can't see myself winning against him, honestly. That it's skill issue, I know. But that's, like, this is, like, it adds to the list of concerns while I'm playing the game.
This is maybe a little off topic here, but I am also just already thinking about just the different types of paint jobs and everything that can be applied to this, because you could do the kind of creepy kind of green thing that we associate with a lot of the Elder ones, but frankly, you could do some really just vibrant, creepy looks here. Like I want to see like a rainbow pattern for this, or just something fluorescent or anything. This is an unknown mass that is just constantly morphing and changing. I mean, literally limitless potential here.
Yeah.
So the perhaps keystone feature of this box is the board. And I know it's been something that Marco, you and Rob have just been waiting to talk about. So let's get to it and talk about what are we seeing here with this crazy Dreamlands board here.
Yeah, let's Rob talk about it.
Yeah, this was the aha. the aha moment like a year and a half ago or whatever it was, which is the dreamland shouldn't stay still. And like real dreams or, Lovecraft dream stories, you turn around and you're like, wait, there was a door here. There isn't a door here. How did this happen? So in the dreamlands, you've got an inner ring, a middle ring, and an outer ring. And there's only 3 out of the 4 in each one. And the scenario will tell you how to set them up. And there's certain doors that connect to certain places on there. And what happens, you can see the 8-sided die on there. Anytime you're making a dice roll, you also roll the dreamland die, and it might add some elder signs you can see. But a quarter of the time, what will happen is the dreamlands will shift. And wherever you are, you take that tile. So if I'm in the outer ring in that lower left, that looks like tunnels and sort of gray, you would pick it up and you would slide it to the upper left quadrant. So there's always one empty quadrant. So wherever you are, whenever you roll that symbol and you make die rolls, things move around to different places. So connections change, and like, you could get someplace really easily and then you get attacked. And when the monsters attack you, suddenly you're far away from what you wanted to do. So a lot of the scenarios in here about getting things to the right place in a world that's shifting under your feet. It's alive in a way that the other scenarios and other seasons haven't done.
Yes, that's a feature from all the scenarios from this box. So all of them have the same structure, this same map structure, and all of them use the green die. You roll every time you make a roll. So one more important thing to notice is that it can help you when you're making an attack or rolling for something. But when the monsters attack, they also roll the green die. So, and the green die has successes, tentacles. So you can also you have to be aware that the monsters are more scarier in these episodes as well.
Yeah. With the addition of the extra successes and extra tentacles, everything gets a little louder, right? Like you can go insane a little faster. You can hit a little harder. You can be hit a little harder at the same time. It adds a level of unpredictability that you would expect if you're not in this realm.
The one thing that I enjoy seeing here as well is because you have a shifting map, this means that your strategy is going to have to constantly, you have to adapt things on the fly. With the previous episodes, you have your map layouts, and yes, variables do change. Monsters appear, gates can spawn different things, and just different events can happen. But here, the map itself is acting against you. So you cannot really have a long-term plan. You have to be constantly in the moment. And to me, this adds a level of engagement that, it's a different experience to the previous games and the maps you're dealing. Because here, when the board itself becomes an adversary or potentially an ally, because it's dreams, they're impartial, they don't care. That adds a whole new dynamic to just the experience you're going to have playing this set versus previous ones. And again, pointing out that everything is modular. So all the previous elder ones that you were fighting, think about any of those nasty effects that you might have to deal with now applied to the Dreamlands. I'm going to go back to that spider example that I was talking about with your nest catches that you have to go and remove before they just burst into other spiderlings. Well, if they're moving around the board, that now all of a sudden becomes a whole new dynamic to dealing with them. Thinking about the fires that can spread across the map as well, just based on what we just talked about. Now those things are actually just like, oh, well, that fire is just moving over here. Just those two brief examples already speak to the level of change in just your gaming experience that this expansion is going to bring to your overall collection.
Yeah, these were some fun.
And here you also have to worry about with the effects of the locations, because this is something that keeps happening. Yeah. Like you step on a place, something might happen.
Yeah, the location tokens that we added for the Forbidden Riches episodes, they also are here. Fun fact is that we made the location tokens. Rob's idea to create the tokens was because of the Season 6 layouts, and we added them to the Season 5 as well.
Yeah, there was that addition as well. As not only is the world moving, but this space, it has something that happens when you enter. Like it's different, and so like the whole idea here is that the map comes to life in a way that some other seasons, it's maybe on fire. That happens sometimes, but the map is largely going to sit still and let you do what you need to do to win the game, and you don't get that here.
We're setting a lot of things on fire today.
It's the only way to be sure.
Yeah.
Now, I do have a question, since I am unfamiliar myself with the specifics of how this works. When the tiles start shifting around, are they going to shift your investigator with them, or are they going to shift independent of that, or does it depend on the episode and the scenario?
Everything goes along for the ride unless something changed at the last minute. So, like, if you're fighting monsters or, the elder thing on there, like, you pick up everything and all the plastic and tokens and just move it to the new spot. So it will definitely change. Like, wait, that gate's right next to me now. It used to be across the board. I don't like this. Right. So, or vice versa.
Things could work out in your favor, but I mean, that's not really fun. It's more fun to go like, oh, now that horde of monsters is suddenly next to me and now moving in and attacking me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Bilbo is trying to kill me.
Yeah, sometimes it'll work in your favor, but not often.
Yeah, but I saw some plays during development that players would go, oh, I need to go to that place far away, so maybe I should attack this monster here and hope to roll the icon so it changes to closer to that space. There are these, but it's not. You try to roll the symbol. You can guarantee that you're going to roll it, right?
Yeah.
So now we're getting into some pro gamer moves right here, where it's like, okay, pro tip, you might, roll those dice quite literally here and hope you get the result you want to shift to where you need to. Definitely, one of those like Hail Mary plays, but I feel that is very in keeping with the entire Death May Die theme.
Yeah, go do something crazy.
So one last thing to talk about in this box is that we are also getting a set of 4 exclusive Insanities added to it. Now, I feel almost bad mentioning this because we're coming right off the high of talking about that cool tile, and now it's like, okay, well, more Insanities. Marco, is there anything that you can say about these? And feel free if
they're
there's
in the same vein as the ones from this box, so they're also like dreamlike Insanities. One more than you're turning into an insect. There's a ghost that haunts you and stuff like that. And they all work in a similar way where you place a mystic token on the Insanity card when it triggers, and as long as this token is there, you have something special happening.
I'm sorry, Marco. You seem to have just casually glossed over the turning into an insect comment, and I just want to. I understand you've been working on Death May Die for quite a while, and those type of things are just like, oh yeah, whatever. It's just another Friday. But let's backtrack there for a second. There, I know these are Insanities, so they might not necessarily be real, but you can't drop something like that and then just go like, oh, just whatever. It just might be turning into an insect.
Yeah. So the effect is that when you're an insect, you can just run and attack, and the enemies don't follow you or attack you because they think you are an enemy as well. And as long as you have this token in your Insanity, you are like an insect, and then the enemies don't see you. But you can only run and attack. You can't do the things that the episode requires you to do.
Investigate. Investigator. Yeah, you don't get to investigate, you don't get to heal stress, you only get to be bug.
Yeah, just be a bug. Be the bug.
Be the bug.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and make my one joke of the episode, but this feels like, okay, so we're getting this nice little Kafka Lovecraft crossover episode here.
Yeah, exactly. And important to notice that those 4 they are called exclusive Insanities because they are exclusive. Like, only backers that are getting season 6 during the crowdfunding will get those Insanities added to their pledge. We did something similar to season 4 last time. We're doing the same thing for season 6.
And Marcel, I do want to just make one clarification there. When we state pledging during the crowdfunding campaign, that does include late backers. There's never a distinction.
It does include late backers, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
There's never a distinction between pledging during the campaign, late backing. You're not going to get excluded from things, but you're not helping people, and everyone reach the goals and unlock more cool stuff.
Yeah, you're not taking part of the flame creatures that just got unlocked. with the Friday the 13th promo that we just got in the campaign. So you should consider pledging it during the campaign to help unlocking more cool stuff like the Abhoth. You guys already know it's coming.
That being said, I believe that's covering everything that we have for the new expansion box. And for the last little bit here, we are just going to open up a live Q&A here. If anyone has any questions in relation to this expansion or any of the unlocks, but mainly the expansion here, while we have Marco and Rob, this can be ranging anything from gameplay to just conceptual things, you know, anything like that. But we're just opening this up. So if you guys have any cool questions, throw them up in the chat right here. And we will pick some of the best. Not that it's a contest, but we're definitely going to be judging every single comment.
Interesting.
First one here, I actually like this one. To which investigator do you feel the most identified? And I guess this is, it's a personal question. You can choose either just, someone who is, one of our historic figures, or, just one of our, ones that we've created here.
Go ahead, Marco. I'm trying to think.
I would say Santos Dumont, just because he's a Brazilian inventor, and that's one that we unlocked early in the campaign. And he's an aeronaut, and I really like him. He's a Brazilian, so yeah, I identify with him.
Yeah, I'm trying to think between which one I identify with and which one I played a lot when I've played the game. Anyone with arcane mastery. I just, want to be wizard over here. So anything that does that is who I identify with.
Just adding in here, for the core game, I always liked that Rasputin existed. In the new set here, it's really hard to beat Boris Karloff, but that for me is a lot of personal bias talking, because I have a lot of respect for him as just an actor and all the roles that he had. Marcella, who do you identify with?
I don't really know who I identify with. I have many investigators that I really like. And for example, Aisha, the one we can see here in the artwork, I really love her character, her bio, because we think of backstories for all of our characters, and we try to make those backstories make sense and have a cool connection with their abilities. So Aisha, I think Aisha has a really cool skill set. Her backstory is really nice. So she's just like I did with Simone for the core box. I think Aisha is the one you can trust your back with too in this core box, in this expansion. I am mixing all of my words today. I don't know how words work anymore. I've never said a word out loud in my life, apparently. But you guys get what I mean. We are
getting closer to the end of our Death May Die campaign. I think that it's fine if just a little bit of the madness, a little bit spill over. I found the single best comment. Sorry, end all, but can I use my cat as an investigator in Ulthar?
Yeah.
We do have a Cats of Ulthar episode. So I'd say go for it. Make your cat roll the big dice, because non kidding, my cats love knocking those dice here. They love knocking it out of my table. So they will have fun playing with that, I can promise you.
This one's a bit of a loaded question here, but we're going to go, what is your favorite Lovecraft story that was adapted into an episode within the Death May Die series? So we're going to aim that one at both Rob and Marco, since you guys are here, to put you immediately on the spot.
Yeah, I'm looking. Like I said, I got to look at what.
For me, it's the temple. It's the one where the guy is locked on the submarine, and we made an episode from season 5 where you're underwater, lost, and you have to gather the submarine parts. So I'll go with this one.
Yeah, it's the Sunken Temple, right? The episode.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there's one in season 5, Imprisoned with the Pharaohs. That just because it was a Houdini tie-in, it was just such a cross marketing from 100 years ago. And I was like, wait, what? Okay, let's do this. Like that just was such a cool little unexpected treat.
I completely spaced on the fact that Houdini was also there as well. Like that's the thing. Like it's just there are so many little cool things that you just like. Oh yeah, I remember this or remember this, and comes in. One comment that I do want to address here is someone has asked, will the monsters from season 6 come with their own unknown monster cards to allow to be played with other seasons? Also, will season 6 include any additional campaign cards? Well, we had a whole slide about that based on our presentation here.
Yeah, there are two new campaign decks, and all unknown monsters come with their own unknown cards, so you can use it with the unknown rules on any episode as usual.
Mix and match like as your heart tells you to. Like you can go crazy.
Here's another kind of more just general question. What is everyone's favorite H.P. Lovecraft story? This does not have to be one that was included in the game, but just in general, I guess, talk about your favorite story.
To me, is Cellophase. Like I already mentioned that, but Cellophase, I got like so hyped when I saw that one of the episodes from season 6 was based in Cellophase, because like this box is after my heart. Like I love everything about it, and I got really surprised that Cellophase got like its time to shine in the Death May Die series. Made me really happy.
Yeah, I mentioned before that my favorite one is the Temple, but my second favorite one probably is the music of Eric Zahn, where he plays the violin, I guess. And yes, that's one that I like. There's a question about does every episode from season 6 use the same circular tile set? There are multiple options of tiles for each ring, and each episode has a different set of them. They are all in the same shape, but the tiles are different. They have different effects because of the location tokens.
Yeah, so they're double-sided in different ones.
They're double-sided as well, yes.
It's just like the other seasons where you'll use a small section of the larger ones. It's just these have a distinctive shape. And I'm sorry, but I need to go. I've got 1 minute to grab lunch and get to a meeting. So I'm sorry that I need to drop off. I think this is going to continue without me in far more capable hands.
Thank you so much for joining us, Rob.
But thank you.
All right. Pleasure.
Thank you, everyone.
Rob, it was great having you. Thank you for showing up.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Rob.
All right, Marco. So now the brunt of all of the design and development questions are going to fall on you. No pressure at all.
No pressure.
Guys, it is noting that we are hitting about an hour here. We do want to take some time to just answer a couple more questions here. But before we jump into that, Marco, I want to give you just a little brief spotlight here. What is your, if you had to pick one thing from this expansion that you felt, aside from the board, was just the coolest like add-on or addition, or even just a small, small thing, even if it was just like a specific monster or anything like that, what is the one thing that comes to your mind is like, oh, this is just like my personal favorite for whatever reason?
Well, it certainly is the Elder One and the mutation tokens, because I really like, as you said, I really like that when you transform the other parts of the game and you play differently every time you play against him. So if you play with different monsters, they mutate in different ways, and it's a new experience. I really like how it came to be this Elder One, specifically Abhoth. The mutation tokens are really exciting because they are random mutations. You don't know what to expect about them, and you have to be careful so that it doesn't spread to all monsters. So I really like that aspect of this Elder One.
So something you just mentioned there is managing mutations so that they don't spread. Because as you said before, when the third token is revealed, it starts affecting everything. So a little bit more about that. How exactly does that mechanic work? How am I stopping the spread of mutations from having it happen?
So the thing is, there are effects that make the figures mutate. When a figure mutates, it gets a token that's a +1 health. And it's on the other side, when it mutates again, you flip, and it's a new effect, something scarier. And when it mutates for the third time, the same figure, then it spreads to every single figure of that same monster, And if you kill it before it mutates a third time, then you can avoid that.
So this actually becomes kind of an extermination mission in the fact that, like, if you leave a monster sitting there long enough and let it reach that apex mutation, then it makes everything else worse.
Exactly.
So that is actually a dynamic that adds to the episode that I was unaware of, that I like that even further now, because I am always a big fan of, if the players don't deal with something, it's just going to get worse. And that is a key example there. So, you cannot let things gestate on the board. I got to use the word gestate today. Cool. That monster is just going to sit there and mutate until eventually it becomes everything's problem. So now it becomes almost like a bit of a, I don't want to say resource management, but the resources are monsters. You have to quell that population and keep it down. Otherwise things get, just way worse for everyone. I am loving the idea of that great one more and more the more you describe it. I'm pushing it further up there. It's probably sitting at my number 1 or 2, really just kind of like, I always like things that when they can modify the existing game state. So when you're talking about taking something that's a threat that you might have faced countless times before, but now all of a sudden there's a new twist to it. I love that type of modularity, and I know I'm gushing about this, but I really like that, and I think that you deserve a lot of props and credits for making something that cool.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take it.
I see people asking if this is our last review planned for the campaign. This will be our last week in review, so we don't get to gush about the other cool things we have in store. But no, I can answer that as no. We have more things in store, and we have like a bunch of stretch goals still to be announced and unlocked that I think you guys will really be happy about. Like, there are many cool things that are still planned for this campaign, and you guys can expect more announcements to come. Like, we are not done with that. Like, we're not done with the campaign so far.
Those who have backed our previous campaigns know that, up until the very last moment that the clock strikes 0, there's going to be cool stuff happening. So this is, the last live stream that we're going to be doing, but this is by far not near the last thing that you guys are going to see. There's more cool unlocks. There's more cool things that will be coming out to strip away whatever remaining madness that is left.
And Marco's crazy idea is still coming.
There's a question about if the campaigns use episodes from this season. The way the campaigns were designed, you can use any episode from any season to play them. There are some specific campaigns that use a specific episode. For example, from season 5, there's one that you have to start with the Mountains at Madness episode. But other than that, you can mix and match episodes however you like from any season,
And just noting there as well, the campaigns that require a certain episode will be in the same box as the campaign. So you're never going to get something that you can't use. Just throwing that out there just for extra clarification. But yes, as we've said before, the campaigns are fully modular. They work with any episodes that you have. And they're not tied to specific sets. They're another element of the game that is fully modular, except in, of course, the rare exception that some of them might require you to play a certain starter episode. But other than that, it's mix and match episodes. Not mix and match, but choose the great old one that starts with it. Everything there, guys. I think that is about the time that we have. This has been a very reveal-packed Friday the 13th. Hopefully it has set the tone for the rest of the day. Once again, a small just memoriam, a brief bit for our cultist Kenneth, who failed us, and now he is gone forever. Posthumous, I want to say, thanks, Rob, for being here. And I guess that is going to be it for our final week in review. Before we let everyone go, Marco, Marcella, is there anything else you want to say to our backers?
I'm really happy with the campaign and the reception that the game is getting. And I was really excited to design those elder ones, those investigators, and seeing how people receive them. It's really great. I made sometimes I think I'm a like chill guy and I don't appear to be excited, but trust me, I'm really excited and I'm really happy to show you guys this after
he's
years of
just
work.
a chill guy. Just a chill guy.
On the other hand, I'm here like all the time on 100% caffeine, like. But yeah, thanks everyone. Thank you for joining us in this weekly lives. Thank you for joining us in the campaign. Thanks for being hyped about the stuff that we are doing, like just as we are. Like we really enjoy working in these games. We really enjoy, like Death May Die is a very important game line for us.
Yes.
Like on a personal level, really, like this is something that we're happy to be working on. Thanks everyone for like being kind and patient with me in the comments of the campaign, and for I don't know, guys. Thank you. I appreciate you guys. I'll let you guys go with like this wonderful sound.
Sure. $8 million stretch goal, ASMR Marcella's dice.
I'll
Guys,
be like for 30 minutes just doing like that.
That's terrible. That's my own personal insanity right there, and that's going to be the last type of joke I'm going to make here, guys. Thank you for showing up to the stream. We appreciate it. Once again, thank you to Marcella and Marco for putting together this great project and campaign, from production, from development to design, and also to all of our backers out there. Again, we have a lot of cool stuff to show you, even just today. And also, as we said, that season 6 will be available shortly after the live stream. We're working on getting that put together, so that's the next thing to show up. Look for that update coming out soon. And with that, guys, we're going to sign off. We'll still be over in the comments until the very end, when the clock strikes 13, reaches down to 0, and we will see you then. Thank you. Have a good weekend, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Yes,
Bye-bye.
bye-bye.